You're listening to another episode of the Just Go Bike podcast, powered by RAGBRAI. This is the award-winning podcast where we are all about the culture of cycling, just for the fun of it. Your hosts are Murph from the Murphology podcast and AP from Parrot Talk. With tales from all over the nation, come for the bikes, stay for the fun, and leave with a smile. And now here is Murph.
Hey, that's me.
And AP.
Hey, that's me.
Hi, Murph.
Well, hey, AP, how's it going?
Well, fantastic now that I'm rested up from our big adventure.
Oh my gosh, we had the most epic adventure. We've been talking about it for months. It has happened. It was spectacular.
It was even cooler than I had imagined it would be. And let's just say it right now, we went on our honor flight.
Yes, we joined a couple, actually a whole plane full of veterans and went to Washington, D.C. in one day and then returned the same day.
It was a whirlwind. Oh, absolute whirlwind. We got to the airport at 5 a.m. and we returned at like 10 p.m.?
Yeah, and then it took us 2 hours to get out of the airport, so it was a long day.
Yeah.
I want to kind of recap our day, but first, how about a few fun facts about the honor flight? Hopefully people that listen to this podcast have heard us talk enough about it, but I thought it was amazing when I was on the plane with my two veterans. We were actually Googling it, and there are over 130 hubs nationwide for honor flight. Isn't that amazing?
So it is amazing. And while we were there in Washington, D.C., we actually saw other honor flights from different states go through and enjoy Washington, D.C. So, for example, we saw the Florida one.
And the Michigan one.
And the Michigan one.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see. One of my favorite things that happened, and this is a slight detour from our fun facts, but as each honor flight met, Washington, D.C. is popular for students as well. So there were a lot of school trips. So every time a school trip and an honor flight collided, the school kids would clap for the honor flight veterans.
Yeah.
And it was just really cool. And it was sort of a thing that happened, that it was popular enough that people knew to clap for the honor flight vets. So that was really neat.
And that's a perfect segue into, so we get on the plane in Cedar Rapids. We jet to Washington, D.C. We get off the plane in Washington, D.C. and it's just at a gate like any other flight lands, right? We were in the thick of the airport, and it might get me choked up just saying it now, but it was mind-blowing. All the passengers, I don't know if they had been told ahead of time that this was an honor flight, but they were all standing and clapping as we got off the plane.
Yeah, and some people were saluting, the military people that were there at the gate were saluting. And in fact, at the end of the day, I asked my vets what their favorite part of the day was, and it was arriving in Washington, D.C. to applause.
Yeah.
I mean, it was incredible. It felt like traveling with two celebrities, which is what it's supposed to be like. It was just so cool.
It was cool, yeah. And so tell everybody the names of your guardians, and I'll tell mine.
I was the guardian for Dennis and a gentleman who is named Carrie, but he goes by Dietz.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dennis was in the Army for a few years and then a long term of service for the Air Force, and Dietz was with the Air Force.
Okay. And I was guardian to two veterans, Regina and Mike, and they are married. They've been married for, I think 57 years. They actually met while they were serving. Regina was in the Navy, Mike was in the Air Force, and these guys give me couples goals. 57 years later, that you can tell they are still deeply, madly in love. They would occasionally hold hands. They still would have conversations and giggle with each other. It was such a treat to meet these people, and now I consider them friends.
Absolutely. Same with my veterans. I hope I get to see them again down the line, but if not, I will never forget them and the stories they told and how much fun we had together and how much we, learned and experienced throughout the day. I want to go back to the fun facts really quick.
Yeah.
We were on flight number 57 for Eastern Iowa Honor Flight. That's 57 of these flights that they have done. And it was a full plane full of veterans. And this is their final flight for 2025. So they'll start over again in 2026, and I believe they have 4 flights planned for 2026.
Cool. And if you're out there listening and you are a veteran or you know a veteran, all veterans are eligible to be on the honor flight, and you should apply. And I'll speak just for Eastern Iowa. I know they have like a 1 to 2 year waiting list. So they definitely cater to the older veterans because they want to make sure that they can do the honor flight before their health prevents them from doing so. So if you're out there and you know somebody or you are a veteran, make sure you apply.
Absolutely. In that way, I wish that we had done the honor flight before we had this year's RAGBRAI and we'd done all the promotion for honor flight because it was so cool. And I wish I would tell any veteran that I know, you got to do honor flight. You got to sign up and get on that waiting list. It's just unreal. It's just remarkable. It's just the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah. And I will give a shout out to female veterans because Regina, the vet that I was guardian to, was only one of 9 female veterans that were on our flight. And I know there's plenty more female veterans out there. So she got a special plaque, and it was just such a cool experience.
It was just from start to finish, it was a cool experience. What was your favorite monument or ritual or whatever you would call it that we experienced during the honor flight?
Probably the very first one, which was, I believe, the World War II monument, because it was so massive. And there were stations as you walked around for each of the states. And my veteran, Regina, lived in the Philippines for a while. So we found the pillar for the state of Iowa, but then we also found the pillar for the Philippines. So we were able to get some great photos there. But I mean, all of them were really, gave you a lot of thought.
Yes.
But World War II was probably my favorite. How about you?
Yeah, just so much appreciation for not only those who served our country, but those who died doing so. It was really, really meaningful. However, I would say my favorite was the Lincoln Memorial, just because it's so, I don't know, weighty and so substantial and so meaningful. And it's so cool. I mean, it's iconic.
Yeah.
And it just has, there's more to the monument than I had realized just from seeing it from pictures.
Right.
So I really, really love that. But then I guess I'm going to give a second one, which is I really loved when we came home to Cedar Rapids. And I don't know if it's supposed to be a surprise to vets. So I maybe won't go into too much detail, but the welcome home was incredible.
It was incredible.
It was just like dazzling. I just thank you to everyone who lives in Cedar Rapids and came to welcome the vets home on that flight, because it was just, I mean, unforgettable.
Yeah, the whole day was amazing. And AP and I are not veterans, and anybody out there who's interested, you can be a guardian to a veteran, even if you don't know the veteran. And go to honorflight.org, which is the national honor flight, and then you can find the hub that's closest to you, and then you can read about how to become a guardian or be a veteran and go on an honor flight. So I got to give a huge thank you out to Lynette. She's the Eastern Iowa Honor Flight president, for helping us be part of this day, for all that she does to get these flights up in the air, to get all these veterans safely to DC and back. I can't thank her enough, and her team.
Absolutely. Lynette and her crew were there every step of the way. And I think we walked like 6 miles, but doing everything they can to make sure that these vets have the best experience possible, from, snacks constantly to moral support, to having paper and pencils ready for rubbings at the Vietnam Memorial. I mean, Lynette, all-star. I couldn't thank her enough for everything.
Yeah.
But I also want to give a quick shout out to all the RAGBRAI riders who donated to Honor Flight during this past RAGBRAI. Your donations are what makes Honor Flight possible for the veterans. Mm-hmm. We could not do it without people like you who've given any amount of money to help these veterans, because this Honor Flight is completely free to the veterans.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I'm pretty sure it's in the hundreds of thousands to get the whole production of an honor flight there and back.
Yeah, absolutely. It must be. So
yeah. Okay, on to today. Oh, and you can go to social media on Just Go Bike or RAGBRAI, or even my social sites, Morphology, to see all kinds of great photos of us with our veterans and just about our experience.
Yeah.
So today's episode is a couple of RAGBRAI employees, Erica and Erin, and they are going to tell us about some important dates that are coming up. Here we are at the time of this recording, we're in October of 2025. So maybe not everybody's thinking about RAGBRAI 2026, but we are, right?
We are. Absolutely, because we're about to release our 2026 logo and open up registration for the next year of RAGBRAI. So we've all been doing a lot of planning, a lot of preparation, and Erica and Erin are our registration experts. They're getting everything ready for you so that it's as seamless as possible to sign up for RAGBRAI. And they also have a lot of really good FAQ that popularly come up this time of year where especially newbies, they just kind of need to get some basic information so that they are ready to prepare for their first RAGBRAI.
And I would guess it is a hot topic, but transfers are back. And Erica's going to explain A, why they went away, and then B, how they're going to help people with transfers without getting scammed. So I think it's a good topic.
And when you say transfers, you mean if you had purchased a registration but cannot go anymore and you want to sell it to someone. So that's back. It's a super popular feature of registration, and hopefully it works even better than ever this year.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get to it.
I can't wait to start 2026. I've been dating everything 2026 for months now. So I can't wait for the rest of the world to join me. And I can't wait to hear what Erica and Erin have to say.
Okay, here they are. All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast, Erica and Erin. Hey, ladies.
Hi, Murph.
Oh, that was in unison. That was perfect. Well, AP and I talked a little bit about it a few minutes ago, but both of you guys work for RAGBRAI, and we thought it'd be cool to have you on this episode because it's that time of year when people might not have RAGBRAI top of mind, but I'm sure that they have a few frequently asked questions when it comes to registration and RAGBRAI 53, which is, coming up before we know it.
I know, it's so exciting.
Yeah, I agree. So before we get into some of those frequently asked questions, I'll start with you, Erin. Will you tell the listeners a little bit about your background and what you do at RAGBRAI?
Yeah. So I'm Erin. I have been working for RAGBRAI since RAGBRAI 50. And I do our customer experience stuff. So if you're sending us an email, I will most likely be the one to respond to it.
Oh, okay. And I think something that is fairly new-ish is that you're also helping out riders with some training tips. So give us kind of the explanation of how you're going from customer service to also talking about training.
Yeah, so I really, since I was 17 years old, have been coaching endurance sport. And maybe 4 years ago now, started coaching triathlon as well. So I've completed 4 Ironmans, 2 of those being world championships.
Wow.
So love riding my bike far, kind of know what it takes to fuel these long days that RAGBRAI requires. So RAGBRAI has asked me to help out with some of that stuff as well. And I love doing so.
Yeah. And for those who don't even know what Ironman is, really quick, give us like the 30-second elevator speech on what the heck Ironman is.
It is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike ride, and a 26.2 marathon run. And you just try and do it as fast as you can. And you do all 3 at the same back to back. So you start your morning in the water, you end it running past the finish line. Correct.
Wow. Okay. And to some people, probably a lot of people, their first time doing RAGBRAI has similar feelings to what you're doing when you're training. It's different, obviously, triathlon versus riding RAGBRAI more as a bike tour, but I'm sure the mindset of some people is similar.
It's similar, and the training's similar. I also probably worth mentioning. My college degree is in health, exercise, and sports science. I have a grad degree in sports law and business. So this is kind of my passion. This whole between RAGBRAI and coaching on the side, I'm kind of living my dream.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll put in our show notes a link to, because your training blogs are still available at ragbrai.com. So we'll put a link to that if people are, kind of getting jazzed up for 2026. Maybe they can get some inspiration from some of your training tips.
Yeah, and I think I'll write a lot more coming up for RAGBRAI 53.
Oh, excellent. Erica, tell us a little bit about you and your background with RAGBRAI.
Yeah, so I started working for RAGBRAI in the merchandise trailers a long, long time ago and was lucky enough to get a full-time job. I started in the springtime of 2022, and now I cover merchandise and registration.
Ah, which is perfect because those are the topics we're going to talk about today, right?
How did you know?
Exactly, right. So, okay, I don't know who wants to answer, so I'm just going to throw out some questions because I know both of you have a lot of knowledge in these areas. But first thing is, everyone listening hopefully knows what RAGBRAI is, but when is RAGBRAI happening in 2026?
So I'll hop and take this first one. RAGBRAI always happens the second to last Saturday to the last Saturday of July.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2026, that'll be Saturday, July 18th through Saturday, July 25th. Now, common misconception is that first day people start riding their bikes. That's actually what we call like our expo day. People can come into that start town at any time, and then the actual riding starts Sunday morning, the 19th.
Okay, and what happens on Saturday?
Saturday, we have the biggest bike expo in the Midwest, or at least I think so. And people can come in. There's lots of local vendors. A lot of the different vehicle places will take you right to that downtown location. There's music, food, just like a fun festival to kick off the beginning of the week.
Mm-hmm. And it is a blast. I mean, it's free to attend. Like you said, there's live music. AP and I are podcasting throughout the day. It's like the start of a great week with a festival, even though you're going to see a festival every single day.
Combine my love for a couple drinks, shopping, and bikes, and that's our expo.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we have to wait until the end of July 2026 to actually start RAGBRAI. But I know, and that's one of the reasons you guys are on, is there are some pretty important dates coming up. So who wants to tackle that one?
Well, I'll kick it off with the biggest important date coming up. Well, first two is everyone's kind of looking ahead for RAGBRAI 53. And we will launch our new logo on Saturday, November 8th.
Ooh.
So that's the next fun thing coming up. And then right after that, we will open up registration. So registration opens up on November 15th each year.
Okay.
So those are the next two things coming up. And then we wait a little while until the biggest secret of the year is released, and we will announce our route in January.
Do you guys have some inside scoop on what the route is?
I don't think they are allowed to tell us that because I don't know if I can keep it a secret.
I always say that I'm going to do RAGBRAI regardless of where it goes because that's just the fun of it for me. But it is always kind of fun to guess, like, oh, is it going to go through my hometown or is it going to go through, someplace that has something cool to see, which I guess is all of Iowa, but.
We think it's fun to guess, too, which is why we do the Guess the Route contest before our route announcement party.
Oh, yeah. And is that something that everybody can participate in?
It is, Murph, and usually if the person who guesses the route the most correct will win a special prize.
Ah, okay. So somebody needs to, get one of those huge maps and put it on the wall and just start investigating maybe where we've been, where we should go, where we haven't gone in a long time. All of those factors go into how Mr. Matt Phippen, our ride director, decides the route. back to the logo launch. What does that mean? Because I think there's a RAGBRAI logo that exists every single year. But what does new logo launch mean?
So every year we do a different theme. We have our classic RAGBRAI logo, but then every year we have 8 new towns, 8 new overnight towns, lots of new pastor and meeting towns.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have a logo that's special for that specific year.
And are there usually, and maybe you can't answer this because none of us are the artists that actually create this logo, but are there like hidden messages in the logo that kind of tell you where the route's going to go?
From the sneak peek I've gotten of it, I don't know if you can discern anything.
Oh, okay.
But there are definite, I don't know if you can discern anything.
Okay.
What do you think, Erin?
Ooh, maybe if you're really creative.
Well, hopefully you said November 8th the logo is revealed.
Yep, and we are actually having a logo release party here at RAGBRAI HQ in Des Moines.
Oh.
So if you're local, or you could even make a weekend trip out of it, we will have a little open house that evening, reveal the logo, what the new kit looks like, all of that stuff in person, and you're come down and celebrate with us.
Cool. And then you can, riders can look for themselves at the logo and see if they can figure things out. So that's awesome. Okay. And then the next big celebration that I think happens, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but the end of January is when Matt and all of you get together and tell everybody where we're going to go come July. So that's called the RAGBRAI Route Announcement Party. And do you have any details on that yet?
Yeah, so the route announcement party, which I recommend everybody come to, will be on January 24th at the Vibrant Music Hall. It will start around 6 p.m. We'll have live music. There'll be food and beer. And we'll also announce the route there. So you'll be the very first to know the route, except for Matt Pittman, of course.
Right.
And we're super excited for it.
And Vibrant Hall is where we had the route party this past year for 2025. And I am going to give it a huge thumbs up because that was a beautiful space. They had everything that we needed. And I'm really glad that we're going back there.
We are too. So we received a ton of positive feedback last year about it, and we're delighted to go back this year.
Mm-hmm. And I don't recall if we said, but that is a ticketed event, and I'm sure if it's not open yet, tickets will be available when you go to ragbrai.com.
Yes, and tickets for that were also open on November 15th, so you can book your ticket for route announcement and your ticket for the ride on the same day.
Okay. So here's a common question that people have asked me, and I have an easy answer, but let's see what you two have. So registration opens on November 15th, but as a rider, why would I register on November 15th before knowing the route? What's your opinion?
Well, first of all, you're going to be receiving the cheapest price,
Okay.
which is always a good thing.
I agree with that. Like, my answer is so easy because I'm going to do RAGBRAI regardless of where it goes. Like, any part of Iowa is going to be awesome. They all step up to, all those volunteers. Matt always has a good route. So I could care less where we go ahead of time. Once I find out, then that's when all the research starts and I find out all the cool things about each of these communities. So that's my opinion. Erica, any opinion?
Yeah, so to Erin's point, we do have price increases. So if you register early, you save the most money. But from another kind of angle looking at it is it helps the town the most.
Mm-hmm.
So we will start visiting towns officially, I believe, the week right after route announcement.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things they ask is how many people are registered. So, we give them up-to-date information of when people are registered, and that's they want to know how many, and we have an estimate, what we guess each year,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to give them the factual numbers so they can prepare, that helps a ton for us for planning purposes, for green space, porta pot, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps the towns the most. And then also, if you're going to come no matter what anyway, you might as well get in and get that deal.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm assuming when you register, let's say I'm going to, It's actually fact. So I register on November 15th. That's just, sorry, everybody, that's just what I do. Can I order a jersey at that time?
You can order a jersey, all of your merch, vehicle passes, everything you need for the ride, and then we'll ship it to you before the ride. So typically we start shipping that stuff out in February.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All of the products.
Yep.
But like the vehicle passes will come with your wristband.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sure everybody wants to know, are there any changes for 2026 as far as registration or anything with RAGBRAI and the ride?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is that we are bringing back transfers this year. So I want to note that last year we didn't take away transfers because it was a money grab. It really, we had a lot of people getting scammed out of money. So people on Facebook saying, hey, I'll sell you my wristband for $150. And the person would send them money, and it turns out the person who originally posted to Facebook was never registered. And unfortunately, we didn't have a way to regulate this.
Right.
So last year, the only solution we could come up with in that amount of time was just to eliminate transfers. But we've worked hard in the past year to find a new way and a motive to do transfers, where we feel like our riders are more protected. So this year, the way transfers will work is the original registrant will still send the transfer link to the new registrant, but this time the new registrant will pay whatever that person paid for their registration, and the original registrant will be refunded through a motive instead of the participants exchanging money on an off-site platform like Venmo or PayPal.
Okay. And a transfer at the simplest level is like I register for RAGBRAI and then I break my leg. So I can't go. What you're saying is I can go through the RAGBRAI registration platform and transfer it to either a stranger or let's say my sister wants to go instead. Is that what you mean by transfer?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's
it's
cool.
Also another reason to register early is that if you register but something happens and you end up not being able to go, you're not out of luck. You're able to transfer the registration to somebody else. Right.
And that makes sense about, the whole people getting scammed, because I know that was a hot topic last year when people were like, what? I can't transfer my my credentials to somebody else. But if people are getting scammed, like unless you come up with an answer, the perfect answer was what you guys did, which was just to eliminate the whole concept of transfers until you figure out the right thing to do.
Yeah. So we're excited to bring those back this year.
Okay. Any other changes for 2026 off the top of your head?
Well, one change that Erin has really spearheaded, I don't know if she'll want to take over and speak about this, is we are going to leave registration open up until the ride. So we will close packet mailing at the end of May, and then anybody who registers June 1st or after for week-long riders or non-riders will have to pick their packet up at the expo. Because when we closed transfers, a lot of people said, hey, I don't know if I can come to last minute. So Erin really has spearheaded, our conversation and what that looks like since she manages packet pickup, or that day she manages that room. So Erin, I don't know if you want to speak more about the reasoning why behind it, but that's one of the new things that we're coming out with this year.
Yeah. So in the past, registration will close, and then if you're not registered during that time, you would have to come to the room and register that day, and the lines can get really long. We don't know how many people to prepare for. Like 2024, we only had like a handful of people register day of. This past RAGBRAI, we had about 1,000.
Wow.
So this will just help us prepare more, be ready for you, and hopefully keep lines shorter if you need to come to the expo registration room to pick up your last minute materials or anything like that.
So I guess if you're somebody who maybe, has work obligations, you're not sure if you'll be able to take the time off, or maybe you're somebody who is a fair weather biker and you wait till the weather, you're going to pay a lot more, but you still have that option to get registered and then just come pick everything up.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. And then as far as, we talked about the new logo will be on a jersey, which will be, new for 2026. Any other new merch that you're working on at this time? It's probably a little bit early, but.
Yeah, so Corey, our graphic designer, I think as soon as the ride kind of closes out, he starts thinking about, maybe even before that, but pretty soon, close to the ride or the end of the ride, he'll look at what he's thinking for the logo for next year. So I got a sneak peek of all of the logo merch that we're going to launch on November 8th, and it all looks super fun. So keep an eye out for it. Before logo launch, even though we are launching some holiday products, which I think my favorite one so far is for anybody who's been on route, they see all of the fun signs that or like some of the vintage signs we put out. We're putting all of those signs into a puzzle and a sticker pack. So those are going to hit here soon by the end of the month for our holiday drop.
That is super cool. I wanted the RAGBRAI puzzle that you had. And whatever day I went to go get it, you had sold out. And then I think you got more in, but then I forgot about it. So perfect for me because now I can wait till the new one comes out.
Yeah, and I saw some photos of finished puzzles last year. I think people really enjoyed them. So bringing back that fan favorite this year. Stay tuned for other merchandise products. We'll be coming out with some between now and logo launch, and then, of course, a lot of fun stuff when we come out with the route announcement in January.
Great. Cool. Okay. I know that there's other frequently asked questions that riders have maybe been emailing you, Erin, or talking to you, Erica. Two that I know of that maybe you guys want to hit on would be charters, and also long-term parking is always a hot button. So do either one of you want to catch those? And then also, if there's any other questions that people have really been asking a lot.
Okay, I think I'll tackle both of those questions, and I'll start with long-term parking.
Okay.
The towns manage long-term parking. So the start town manages theirs, the end town manages theirs. And since they need a little time to prepare, we typically ask them to have that ready between March and April. So once those towns are launched, at the end of January, we need to give them a couple weeks to get their software set up and make sure they know what lots they can use and what their capacity is.
Right.
So if you know you're going to come and you're going to purchase long-term parking and leave your car there, just hang tight. The best thing to do is follow us on social media because we will post when that stuff is live, and we'll also share the start town and end town's social media with you guys so you can follow themselves for the most up-to-date information.
So you're saying that they kind of decide their location and how. I'm sure that Matt, coaches them a little bit, but right this second, those towns have no idea if they're going to be chosen, if they're going to be part of the route. So there's no reason for people right now to be like, hey, I want to make sure I get my long-term parking pass for such and such community.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So stay tuned for that. Don't worry about it till maybe come March to worry about parking. But know that is non-negotiable. There will be long-term parking in both locations, right?
Exactly. Yep. They'll have long-term parking. Sometimes they do sack lunches. So just keep an eye on that. And we'll keep you updated.
Perfect. Okay. And then, of course, charters, which on a side note, I think AP and I talked about this, but I was just on a week-long tour in North Carolina, and a company called Northern Exposure was there with their shower trucks. And it made me feel like I was on RAGBRAI, of course, in a different state, but it definitely had the RAGBRAI feel.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So I'll start off by saying that charters are completely optional. When you register for RAGBRAI, part of your registration includes general camping at the main RAGBRAI campground and some other like satellite campgrounds if you'd rather camp by your RV, etc. So in your general registration, that includes green space for you to set up your tent and camp. That also includes us moving your bag from the start town in the morning where you wake up to the next start town where you're going to end during that day. And our baggage team, Corey helps leads them the week of their ride. They're a great group of people. They will move thousands of bags, so we do enforce a limit up to 50 pounds. So when you're planning for RAGBRAI, if you think like, hey, this has to be 50 pounds because they're going to move this bag a ton of times, they're moving bags all day, so you have to keep it as close to that 50 pounds. They will have you remove stuff if you're over that 50 pounds. So that's one of the biggest questions we get about baggage, but those are included in your service.
And let me add to that. I'm sure a lot of people have seen the How to Pack for RAGBRAI video that I did several years ago. And I think my bag was 39 pounds, the one that's in that video. And I don't think I'd want it heavier because then I just have to carry it further and be, especially after biking all day. So keep that in mind too. Like, even though the limit is 50, it doesn't mean you need to have 49.9 pounds in your luggage bag.
Especially if you plan on buying some stuff along the way.
Oh, yeah.
You want to have a little wiggle room.
Sure, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. So, yeah, just want to say, like, you do not have to use a charter. They're completely optional. However, if you want more of a elite experience, you can go with a charter. I check out RAGBRAI.com/charters because there is a ton of them. They offer anywhere from just, if you don't want to set up your tent, they'll set up your tent for you, and they have like a separate campground. If you don't want to bring a tent, you can rent a tent and they'll set it up for you. To a lot of charters offer different services where they have different meals there and so on and so forth. So I'd check out that charter page. We are working on getting that updated. So you'll be able to really see, like, Pork Belly offers different stuff than Bransel, who offers different stuff than like any of the other charters. So I take a look at it, and you have time now. Most of the charters will open either between November 15th when we open all the way up until route announcement. And I would just make sure that, like, if you're interested in a specific charter, you follow them on social media so they will say if they're hitting capacity. So you need to get in there. I don't know if they've hit capacity in the last couple of years, but it's always something to keep in mind of if you have a preference. And most of them are great about answering any questions. If you need something, one of the favorite things that a lot of the charters do is they offer like charging stations, because I know I'm going to want to charge my phone at some point in time. So just kind of look at that. You'll, of course, be able to charge your phone wherever you can find electricity on the ride.
Right.
But just some of those services you may not think of that you want. Some charters offer like indoor camping spots in a gymnasium. So just kind of depending on what experience you want. We recommend first-time riders, especially like if they love camping, camp in the main campground. You get the general feel for RAGBRAI. But if you're looking for another group of people potentially to ride with, a charter has a built-in group of people that are around you. You guys are all in the same campground. You'll be leaving and going towards the same place. So it's also a good way to meet people.
And you said RAGBRAI.com/charters is a kind of a nice go-to spot to learn about the charters that are official RAGBRAI charters.
Yeah, and I also recommend, if you're a Facebook person at all, there's an unofficial RAGBRAI Facebook group. I want to say it may still be RAGBRAI LII. I don't know if they switched over to LIII. But if you just search charters on there, people will talk about their experiences. If you're looking for a more of an intimate charter, or if you want one with all the bells and whistles, I recommend doing a little search and seeing, because, everybody has like different preferences. I definitely, if I was going to go with the charter, I wanted them to put my tent up for me.
Right.
So I think that's my bare minimum with them.
Yeah, and it just really depends on A, how much you want to spend, and B, how pampered you want to be. Because there are charters, like AP and I stayed at a charter one night that had over 1,000 people in it. And so it was like a little traveling city within RAGBRAI, meaning they had food trucks there, they had charging stations, they had beer, somebody tapping kegs, they had live music. And that's a way different experience than being in the main campground and being able to, walk to where the major entertainment is and all of those food vendors. So I think anybody you talk to will have an opinion on what they like better. But there's, like we've said many times, there's no right or wrong way to do RAGBRAI.
I think the only wrong way to do RAGBRAI is not to come, not to see it for yourself, you know?
Yep.
I agree.
So we all know ragbrai.com is going to be your main place. And I think Erin has said this on the podcast before. There's everything that you want to know about RAGBRAI and more. So you just have to spend some time looking around. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can find an answer to basically any question you want. You can learn about things that you didn't even know you wanted to learn about. So it's got everything on there.
Okay, so then before we go, let's recap the dates. First date coming up is November 8th.
Logo launch.
So November 8th is logo launch. And then what's next? November 15th?
November 15th is registration opens. And then January 24th is route announcement.
Okay. And again, all of this is available at ragbrai.com. Or if you can't find your answer, where should you go?
You can email Erin at ragbrai.com and I'll help you get your answer.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I am looking forward to seeing the new 2026 RAGBRAI logo on November 8th.
I think everyone will love it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks for having us, Murph.
Well, listeners, that is it for today. We want to thank you for tuning in to listen to the Just Go Bike podcast. If you would like to contact Murph and AP with a comment about the podcast, or maybe even you have a topic in mind, you can reach us at justgobikepodcast@gmail.com. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook and watch our intros on YouTube. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast, especially if you're a fan. That is going to do it for this week. Until next time,
Just go bike.
theme song by Ryan Steer, logo by Suzanne Milosevic, produced by Kathy Murphy, social media by Andrea Parrott, intro by Pumpkin. Until next time, just go bike.